Thank you all very much, and it's an honor and privilege to give you all some of the knowledge that we've gained over our years working in the field and training that we received and stuff. So, one thing about me, I got kind of a soft voice, so if you can't hear me, just yell at me and I'll kind of try to tune it up a little bit. So, but main thing we want to do today, this is basically on crime, and there's no better crime, I guess, than to basically go into homicide. Homicide encompasses a little bit of everything as far as all types of crimes. So we're going to take that and we're going to use that. Is there anybody in here that's kind of finicky about body parts or saying stuff like that? Nobody?
Nobody's pleased.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't want anybody getting sick or upset. But we want to, we're not trying to gross you out, but we want you to see exactly what we encounter when we come to these crime scenes and what we have to do to solve these cases and stuff. And mainly we solve these cases through people like you, people based out in the street that can give us the information at any time. And it's, how many of y'all watch CSI? You see that neat little thing that they got, they bring up and got all this stuff and move all this stuff around. I was going to show you that today, but we ain't got it. And TBI doesn't have one, the FBI doesn't have one, so when you watch those shows, nobody does. So we do have a very good criminal investigation division, and Mesa, by the sheriff is giving us as much tools as we can, thousands of dollars worth of tools to get out and solve these crime scenes. And it's a good thing to know with Sumner County, we've never had to call another agency in our entire existence to assist us with these crime scenes. And I'll get into some of these and you'll see kind of what we deal with. But, over the past 4 years, for some reason, we've got some of the most bizarre crime scenes that you'll ever see. So mainly I'll go into death investigation and crimes first. So the homicide crime scene, basically there's three basic principles in the initiation of the effective homicide investigation. The most important is rapid response to the scene by patrol officers. This is imperative in order to protect elementary materials before they're destroyed or they're lost. So we want to get there, and if you get there and you see police officers out there and they're telling you to get back, it's for those reasons. We have to preserve that crime scene, and we have to make sure that there's nothing tampered with in that scene whatsoever. If so, that can mean the difference between making or losing a case in court. Anything and everything should be considered as evidence. Whether it's evidence is physical or testimonial, it must be preserved, noted, and brought to the attention of the investigator. The only evidence collected at this point of the investigation is eyewitness accounts or spontaneous statements of the suspect at a scene. After the scene of security video, an appropriate notification must be made to the homicide investigators. And basically, these are things we're going to look for in a homicide: where the body was moved from, where the actual assault lead to death that took place, where any physical or trace evidence connected with the crime was discovered. A vehicle used to transport body or evidence, other areas related to the primary crime scene, point of course entry, the route of escape, the suspect, and the suspect's residence. Patrol officer's duty basically is extremely important. We've got some of the best patrol officers you could ever have. As a matter of fact, I know probably on the last 2 or 3 homicides we've had, it's been made by the patrol officers getting there and doing what they're supposed to do, finding evidence, seeing things, seeing a car going up and down the road, just whatever. These guys are on it and they bring it to our attention. From there, we make the case. And we get the credit. It's really these guys that are driving the cars out there and basically just out there paying attention and doing everything they can to assist in doing this. But you know, the patrol officer has to basically clear the largest area possible, and that means one of our biggest things we do is try and keep the media out. That's always a big factor. No matter how much room you give them, they want more. They want to get in as close as possible. So we try to keep them a good distance away, and we have to make a quick and objective evaluation of the crime scene based upon the location of the body, presence of any physical evidence, eyewitness statements, presence of the natural boundaries of the room, house, hallway, and closed part. And keep in mind, we usually don't have more than just one crime scene. We usually will have 5, 6. I mean, crime scenes that we have to attend to on one homicide. So again, protecting the crime scene is the most important part for the patrol deputies when they get there. There's a lot to that, and like I said, that's our most important thing. Because one thing about Sumner County, we're 569 square miles, and if I get a call in the middle of the night and I'm in Hendersonville and the homicide is in Westmoreland, well, I've got a long drive, and it's crucial at that point that the first officer on the scene do what they can to protect that scene before we get there. So. Okay, crime scene, basically sign-in sheet, establish 2 crime scenes. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take you through a real death investigation, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to sit here and tell you a bunch of stuff that, okay, it's just words right now, but I want to basically, as I go through this, I want you to be able to apply it to this death investigation. So I'm going to go pretty quickly through this death investigation and let y'all take a look at it, and then as I'm going over these points, then you apply these points to this death, okay? So let me find that for you real quick. First of all, is anybody familiar with Danny and Joey Anderson, 1670 Old Galton Road? 2 brothers that lived up there. To me, this is one of the most baffling death investigations we've had ever, and we're still basically not sure exactly what happened. So this is something that we're going to go over with you. Feel free to give us any ideas that you might have on this. This is a separate slide of series of slides. Okay, so if you come to a crime scene, you're walking up, basically, of course, you're always going to want to pay attention to everything you come across. And just pay close attention, start making your notes. And just kind of get a good overview of the scene. Now, just give you a brief background. This is a lady that hasn't heard from her brother in 2 or 3 days, and she goes over the house, and finally, the house is locked. She finally gets in and finds her 2 brothers in this position. They're both in lounge chairs. These are kind of gruesome pictures here, but again, this is a very unique crime scene. And we can't say crime. I mean, we're still not sure if it's foul play or natural death. But okay, go next. Now you're seeing 2 bodies, basically with a lot of libidity and basically decomposition. That's tunes for the blackness of the bodies and basically the swelling of them. But what are the chances, and this is the first question you ask yourself, what are the chances of two bodies being in this position and both of them dying at the exact same time? Okay?
They weren't shot?
No, not shot. Not shot.
Do you know yet?
That's what we're gonna, that's what I want y'all to kind of. You can guess, I mean, you can, anything you want to venture out of it, but I just kind of want you to start, just kind of get a good feel for this scene, and then when we're going through the points, then you apply those points to your head, and kind of come up with what your opinion might be on this.
Is it winter time?
Yes, it is.
You said December 15th of 08.
What kind of heat is this?
Carbon monoxide poisoning?
That's a good, that's always a good possibility, yeah, real good possibility.
What was on the rock, was that what?
On the
slide
where?
before that.
Slide before that.
That one there. What is that?
The black stuff?
Yeah.
Just the darkest thing, nothing.
You see the position is probably decomp coming out.
Yeah. Now, when a body gets decomposition, the body will still, from the gases will cause the body to move a little bit. So,
What kind of heat system did they have?
it was electric. John, asking a great question. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, just kind of flip through those. Good possibility. Real good possibility. Okay, see that? You're saying still bottles.
Could have committed suicide.
Yeah. But what's the chances of two people dying at the same time on a drug overdose? At the exact same time?
Unless they're allergic to the, whatever it is.
Exactly. I mean, it's always a possibility. But again, you're talking about two people of the same kind of build and everything. And they died at the same time. Not one could get up to help the other. Yeah, so there's a lot of things there that.
The guy on the left side was drinking something. I didn't see whether there's a couple on the other side of the other guy because they were mixing alcohol with that.
Right. What's that?
I said it's knocked over to answer his question.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay.
And there, just to let you know, there was a cat in there, which kind of scared the heck out of us at one point.
What'd you say was in there, sorry?
A cat.
A cat?
Yeah.
Which kind of rules out the.
Carbon monoxide, yeah.
Yeah. So,
What's the age of the victims?
38, yeah, 38, 30.
Stuff isn't stolen along there.
Yeah, no, you don't see anything, like I said, you know, good point, you don't see anything that's evidence of robbery.
And the sister walked in on this, looking at,
Well, she did, she had to kind of force her way in through a window because she just couldn't get anybody to the door and stuff, so she had to.
did somebody else come in there too with that?
There's nobody else in there.
But I mean, it could have been it previously?
Well, yeah, there's always anything possible, but, you know, when we did the perimeter of the house, there wasn't anything evidence that looked like that somebody had broken in.
Could have been a friend.
Yeah, well, it could have been a friend, but again, there's just nothing we can see that was evident of somebody breaking and killing. And then you're talking about two good-sized guys. Okay, somebody broke in to do something to them. There would have been some sign of struggle, which we did come across something that does look like a struggle. We'll see that.
So you proved that they both died about the same time?
Yes.
So
Were the prescription bottles their prescriptions, or were they from another source?
Yes, sir, they were their prescriptions. And then there's some more prescription bottles in there. And these are, like I said, that's for muscle relaxers, yeah, things like that.
Did that box back there say that it was the mother's stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I said it's mother stuff, but
Were they her pills?
no, those are their pills. So,
Fake eyes.
yeah. So again, you see prescription bottles all over the place, which is, you know,
I'd say.
there you go, hydrocodone, again, Crispidol muscle relaxer.
Probably took a while to get it.
Yeah, so,
What about the toxology report?
yeah, we did that, and I'll get into that too. Basically, that was one thing we got done.
What's it done doing?
So we go through basically, we photograph and we detail everything that's in this house. There's nothing in this house that we're not gonna photograph, we're not gonna videotape. We're gonna want it all because we want to preserve that, because we got one shot at this, at any scene, at any crime scene, we got one shot at it. So that's how important this is you got that one shot, and you wanna make sure you catch everything. So,
Did you test the drinks for any foreign substances?
yeah, we did send the drinks in, what we had left as far as the liquid, sent that in, and basically it came back as just, you know, like Coke and stuff, so. What does that tell you right there?
We're eating.
Weren't eating, but, I mean, what time do you think they were going to bed or waking up? Okay. So little things like that start giving you good ideas of where your time frames are and.
Is that broken
Yeah.
glass under that table?
So yeah, you're right there. Now that made us stop and think, okay, we've got a broken table, right there. Shattered, so maybe we got a homicide after all.
Is that a guest bedroom?
Yeah, it was a guest bedroom, but what turned out happening when we asked the wife or one of the family members, that had been broken about 2 weeks previous. But you think that somebody had cleaned it up by then, but nobody.
Well, the rest of the house wasn't clean, so they obviously.
And this is where I got scared to death, was back right here. I looked under here and cat just came flying out.
What's something else that you could look for if you've got a time frame on when you thought this might have happened?
A newspaper running around, magazine.
They did keep a clean house here.
The lights down.
Yeah, this is only a small portion of the photographs, the videotapes and stuff we took. But this, you know, I've taken this scene, I've taken it to other schools, sent it off to the FBI, and we still don't know to this point whether it's a natural death, whether it's accidental death, or whatever. But there's Tim's getting this, we'll go out to the mailbox. Now that's a good, that tells us, we can go back to the mailman and say, hey, you know when this mail got put in there and how long it was like that.
So you haven't been able to determine how long they've been dead?
Yeah, we basically got a determination, Xanax, but we got a determination of about 3 days.
April, so all those, you know, anti-anxiety.
Yeah, they're just, yeah, a lot of stuff there that could have built up in their system, but again, it all comes back to, and I've talked to some of the greatest peak homicide experts in the world and death investigators, and they say the chance of 2 people dying like that is just slim to none. I mean, that's just one of the.
Maybe they were playing with one another. Maybe they said, oh, let's see how many of these pills we can take.
Right, that's the possibility.
One killed the other one.
Yeah.
Did you pump their stomachs?
I'm sorry?
Did you pump their stomachs?
Yeah, the medical examiner's office did.
They found nothing.
Yeah, they found some contents in there. Contents as far as they did find some pills, and then some other items of where they had eaten some, so.
But obviously not enough that just, okay, yeah, they both overdosed,
No,
obviously they're.
and you can see they didn't get nauseated. I mean, there were stains on the rug from the decomposition. When you decompose, basically you start building up fluid in your arms and the fatty tissues, and eventually that breaks and it goes into the floor and
That's a
stuff.
heart attack. I mean, you know.
Again, yeah, heart attack, but 2 people at the same time. That's the never-ending question, why 2 people at the exact same time?
So you all found them on the 15th? So that means 3 days before the 15th is
Yes.
when they.
And the last person saw him basically out cutting wood with chainsaws.
They don't plan on filming, so.
No, there's no notes, no, and you see the way they're dressed and everything, there's really no indication that they plan on killing themselves. But that's a possibility, you just never know. I mean,
Was the decom,
Whose house were they living in?
that was their house.
Was it like their mother's house?
No, it's both their houses. They owned it together. So. One of them was married and moved out. So one of them was married, and that happened to be his wife that came over, ex-wife that came over after not hearing from him for a while.
And she used to live in the house with him?
Yes. And then the other brother moved in after she moved out. So,
Well, where did the blood come from? Was he hemorrhaging?
blood, that was decomposition.
That decompensation?
That's what that is. So.
But you said somebody was sleeping in the guest bedroom on the sofa bed too. Sofa bed, that's a.
Right, right. Well, there's one bed back there that one of them slept in, and the other one slept in that one where the sofa is.
Oh, okay.
was the decomposition to the point that even in pathologists couldn't see whether there'd been hemorrhaging in the eyeballs from strangulation or anything?
It gets really hard to tell, but they can tell from decomposition, parts of the body as far as the liver and some other organs as far as how far along the decomp is. So.
Were all those medications like for depression and something? What are those medications for?
Xanax and, anxiety, depression, the muscle relaxers for, maybe had hurt back.
They had alcohol
pain.
issues? Were there alcohol issues in the house?
We didn't see hardly any alcohol.
You talked to the doctor that prescribed the drugs?
Yeah, and there's just a very little medical background that would, something would have killed him, such as
Did
heart
they have
failure.
any kind of history? Drug history?
Drug history, yeah, they did have some drug history. As far as, I think small arrest for drug possession, and then, it was kind of common knowledge between some informants that we got information back after they died that basically they did use drugs. So. But again, when you go through there, you want to document everything that you can and just get all that down. So.
But all the prescriptions they were theirs. All the pill bottles were prescribed to them?
Right, but we collect all those. We collect every bit of those, and we want to go back over all those and make sure that they.
How many were gone compared
Exactly.
to when they got the bottle?
Yeah.
They were.
And then we might want to test some of those if maybe there was something that went afoul as far as the way they were made or something like that.
Right.
So, and that's.
Did you ever figure out why the one man slouched over his head against?
Well, no, the best, I talked to a guy named Vernon Gilbert, who's basically he's retired homicide detective out in New York. And he said basically the guy probably was feeling bad and just leaned forward to try and feel better, and that's why he was wiping it. So. And then there's always a possibility that there's the gas, he was leaning a little bit and the gas caused his body to retract and so forth. Yeah. So again, you run into all these possibilities, and that's your job is to eliminate these possibilities and try and disprove all this.
Gosh, there's so many.
So that's kind of basically it. I mean, just when you're going through that, you just kind of get an idea of what you're looking for. You're looking for everything. There's nothing you don't want to document. You want to go through the trash. You want to go through everything.
So was this a place where neighbors were able to see people coming and going or anything?
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
I think they had a gate at the.
Yeah, there was a gate at the end and stuff. They're pretty neat, the two guys living together, and as far as the way they kept their house, which is unusual, but Well, we didn't, just, you know, like I said, they didn't appear to be heavy drinkers, but they did appear to use drugs.
Were they, had they been showing up for work? I mean, were they
They, both unemployed.
both unemployed?
Were all the vehicles, present that were supposed to be?
Yes, sir. All the vehicles were there.
Was it determined that they died from the drugs or?
Well, their toxicology on the, basically came back pretty high on the drugs.
Yeah.
But again, what's the chances of two dying?
Was somebody who, would
The brothers.
they were mad at him?
I mean, why weren't you the unemployed guys? Why were they unemployed?
Well,
They
December,
decided, I don't know, there's a lot of people like that, I mean.
December of '08 was the really high time when unemployment was at the
Yeah.
highest.
Okay.
How did they live?
And then one of them had disability, I mean, one of them had disability,
So
so.
you got a disability.
They weren't close to foreclosing on this house or anything.
No, no foreclosure. Like I said, they're just,
Why do you keep showing them?
oh, that was the, when we take a series of pictures, the investigator will put that note in there to separate those photos from the other photos in
This,
that.
this is the next day. We came back the following day to get a better perspective, because we were there at night, so we went back the next day.
So you say there's a gate, they have a gated
Right, where we're standing, or where this picture is right behind that. There'd be a gate.
And you can just imagine the odor that was in there. And we had to work in there pretty much chip hard at night. Yeah. And it just, it makes it very difficult.
Did you say that they had, their house was paid for?
I don't know if it's paid for, I can't remember.
They
if
had
it's
to
paid
get some money somehow, like one disability check is not going on. This is why I called it.
for. Yeah.
Was the ground pretty dry or wet at that time?
Well, it snowed right before that.
No tire marks, fresh tire marks coming through the driveway or anything?
No, we didn't see any, and there had been somebody that drove up there, we found out, and then turned around and left as a friend of ours, that driven up there, but again, everything was locked up, and, just no evidence that anybody had been in there besides them.
And the ex-wife used to talk to him on a regular basis or something, so
Yes.
it's odd that she hadn't talked to him.
Yeah, she had talked to them almost a daily basis,
And she didn't have any clues?
No, nothing whatsoever. Okay, I guess we'll go back to the others.
You know, the disability, what is it, established disability?
Yeah, I can't recall exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was something to do with that.
And the other, you don't know.
The other one, it wasn't affecting this one.
I think it's a jury.
PowerPoint. Yeah, if you go back to that PowerPoint.
Decided to sit there with a long sign.
So as we go through this, and we'll keep going through all these other things, and as you learn, that you can kind of make your decision as we get through the rest of the scenes and stuff.
Who was the divorcee, the wife, who was the wife, the disability guy or the unemployed guy?
Yeah, disability guy.
And which one was the disability guy? The one that pulled it over or the other one?
The one on the right.
My right.
All right. Okay, you can do that from the beginning right there. Somewhere.
And that's, you still don't know, there's a lot of stuff to go through there, there's a lot of.
Where were you?
Okay, I can go through it now. So, one thing we should always do is basically, this is kind of up in the air as far as legal wise, as far as the crime scene search, crime scene sign-in sheet. If you want to do a crime scene sign-in sheet, you can do it. Some people don't do them anymore because it becomes a nightmare for the investigators. If somebody comes in and out of a crime scene, and you got to document that every time, but when the defense attorney gets that, they expect you to know every single time that person comes in and out exactly what they were doing, and it becomes a little bit of a nightmare. So it's become almost common practice. You don't do a crime scene sign-in sheet anymore. All agencies don't. but, we do own a lot still, so when you get, more than one crime scene, of course, you gotta split up your personnel, and you gotta send somebody and make sure they're in charge of that crime scene. The secondary crime scene is the third part of the crime scene, and that's where you gotta have your organization and your, enough equipment to take care of everything there is. Okay, and these are just the general points. Arrest the perpetrator if you determine by direct inquiry or observation that he or she is a suspect. As a general rule, do not question the suspect at this time. We tell our patrol officers that because we're basically trained in the interview and interrogation of suspects. So we want to have that ability to sit down with that person and hopefully have them tell us the truth on what happened. So that's kind of the reason for that. But a lot of times they'll get to our patrol officers, and we've had some of them tell everything about the crime scene before we can even get there. So. Yeah, and always refrain from entering the crime scene or disturbing, touching, or using any found item therein. The first officer should instead establish a temporary command post outside the central crime scene, preferably where there are at least 2 phones available, one for incoming and one for outgoing calls. In the early stages of investigation, you just wouldn't believe how many phone calls you're going to receive as far as just everybody inquiring, different agencies inquiring, the media calling, our command structure, needing to know, and just everything else that goes on. You always want to separate the witnesses so as to obtain independent statements. Because believe it or not, you can put 5 people together, and those 5 people can sit there and talk, and you separate those 5 people, and you're going to get 5 statements that are probably not exactly the same, but they're still going to be pretty close. And so therefore, you got 5 statements that probably aren't going to do you any good because you let those people talk.
Well, you guys, there's an awful lot of stuff that you guys have to know of how to, handle the crime scene. How long does it take you all to remember all that stuff?
Well, it comes through a lot of it through trial and error, but we go through that. Like I said, the sheriff is excellent. We put him for a school. He's very good at sending us to some of the best training around the country. I know Tim just went through a really good homicide school, and we went into the best there are in the country. So through that, and then through the scenes we work.
You said try and error, but then try and error, you can do that to get the perpetrator, off, because
Yeah, well,
if you make an error on the crime
There's
scene.
usually 5 or 6 of us in a given spot. If one of us begins to make a mistake, others will step in and go. It's a team effort.
we have a unified approach to any scene. I'll be in charge, but if Tim comes up to me and says, hey, we need to do something this way, I'm going to listen to him, and I'm going to make that determination if we need to do it that way. Because we got to work as a team on these things because there's just so much to them. If any one person thinks they can do that on their own, they're crazy. So, I'm not bragging here, but we probably got the best, I guess, homicide detectives that there are. I mean, we don't get a lot of them, but when we get a homicide case, we usually solve it and solve it as quick as possible. So, and I'll tell you in just a little bit about one we just solved. And it's a huge case. I mean, this is a very huge case, but this is kind of a patrol officer's quick list. But going back to the trial and error, I mean, all of us learn about trial and error. And no matter what we do, we second guess ourselves. And when you get in that crime scene, you want to make sure that you're doing it right. And if you don't do it right the first time, you don't get a second chance to do it. So sometimes you can go back and look at it, and you think, hey, I should have did it this way. And that's what we do. I mean, we critique ourselves more than anything, so.
Most of the time, it's okay to make a mistake. It's not okay to try to hide your mistake. So if we make a mistake, we know it, and we just go with it because it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Everybody's human.
That's one of our officers that was testing one of our cars as a submarine. It only worked for a little bit. Okay, the patrol officers checklist, let's see, our first order of business is always when we get to a scene, we want to preserve life, arrest the suspect, and protect the crime scene. Those are the first three main things we want to do. So. And, of course, documentation is the most important part of the crime scene. Observation, documentation, that's your best things. We've got, everybody's got good cameras, we got good video equipment, we got what's called a total station where we can set that up and basically diagram this entire room using this total station system, which is about $26,000. So gives us a great tool to take care of crime scenes and stuff. So, okay, let me look at another one here.